Scheduled for 5:20, it says. Man, no schedule. Scheduled for 5:20. Every time I tried to schedule it, it would then go back and say, you need a title. And so I'd put a title in, and then it'd say, hit done or whatever. It didn't say go live, and then boom, it go live. So I can't schedule it even though it comes up. I think it's my fault. See? Well, it says I'm live now. There we go. Now we got this one going. See? Let's switch it to live chat. So I'll see if I'm the live or not. All right, and I'm the moderator. I'm the only one here. I'm gonna put something silly out like a monkey with a hammer. Hey, Mean with Knives. And Chris, wow, there's a couple of people that are up. Um, I entitled this video, or let me turn this down. I'm still annoying. We don't want the echo chamber going. Saturday morning oddness, because these are mostly Rough Rider knives, but they're ones that you don't see a lot, or you don't see people using a lot, or Rough Rider doesn't make them anymore. So I got a box here, and then some flipping over here, and ignore everything else except for you can't ignore Dewey, but I mean ignore everything else in the background. These are all the ones we're going to talk about. And one of the first ones, yes, is a toad sticker. It's different because it has kind of like a triangular, see how it tapers down? And this is really good um, if you're kind of lazy and there's a table over there and it's got some grapes and you want to, grapes or cherries, You could use it to stick toads, I guess, but it's a non-locking blade, so you have to be aware of what you're using and how you're using it. But yeah, this is the toad sticker. Now they came out with one in I think buckshot bone. They're still making this. That's what I was trying to get around on the theme of this is that Rough Rider will make some traditional style knives that nobody else is making. You know, sometimes Frost will make some knives that are different, but usually nobody else makes them, or if they do, they're very rare, and you have to, they're not in production. Like Case might make something, but not currently. So these are kind of fun. You just, like I said, you have to be careful because it's a slip joint, and if you're doing it wrong, especially with the long fulcrum lever, it's very easy for this thing to start folding. And if you're holding it like that, you're not going to be a fan of slip joints for a while if you come all the way back there. This finger, particularly, will be pissed off at you. And if you're right-handed, this is your trigger finger. So you don't want to mess that up. You might need that someday. I'm not saying anything other than, be careful. All right. So here's another kind of they don't have to be all odd and out of production and everything. Sometimes they come out with a new one, and this is kind of a traditional looking knife. It's wide and kind of heavy, but that's an advantage I think with this because it fits in your hand real well, and it's a sort of a flipper that doesn't always engage. And never try to open the knife this way unless you like pain. If you like pain, you're going to like that part of it. But that right there, I think people say it's more of a nail stop. I mean a blade stop, because if you look at it, it rests on the liner. But if there's no cutout here, you can see how much is sticking up. And if you try to open that, it's not at a good leverage point either. You'd want it up over that area. Comes in handy to help hold it, lock it in place. Um, it's got a mid-level lockup up there, so it's still got time. I think it depends on the width of this liner lock. If that is wide enough, this thing can go all the way over, and it won't cause you any problem. But if it's thin, you see that gap in the background? It's going to get all the way over if it starts wearing, and then it won't lock in the open in the fully locked position. But for now, this is different. This is odd. Now you look at this one and you think, traditional knife. Now, if you're really paying attention, you'll notice that. But most people just look at that and, oh yeah, traditional knife. And it's a bolster lock, so it doesn't have an assisted opening. It's got a half stop. It locks solidly. I feel like even without that bolster lock, this thing would be in there solid. But you see how that recesses in? That's a pretty cool design. And it's thick too. It's not like some tiny little, lever thing. Now I've noticed some people say they have a problem with some, they stick and they don't work and everything. But uh, oh, hello, Legion. Yeah, I got some big knives coming in. I got a couple of big knives coming in. Um, one's big and one's medium. They'll be here Sunday. Um, but yeah, that's something different. Now these are more of a novelty. This is a double take, and you can get them in muskrat, canoe. I've got another one. There's a couple of different things like this, but this one's in trapper. This is a double take trapper, I guess. And it's got the double blade. When it goes there, it's a handful. It's really a handful. For the longest time, this guy was the kind of like the Yellow Knives Matters king and everything, because he was the biggest. And but then this guy came along, and he's going to be not only the spokesman, but the king of the Yellow Knives, or somehow he got crowned in his own head. And but yeah, this is different. No half stops on that. You just got the traditional trapper type of spay blade, but you've got two of them. So it's like if you're worried about sharpness, sharpen up all four of your blades. And I mean, if you go through a day's worth of work and you dull out four blades, then yeah, I think you could qualify for using a super steel or something that might hold an edge longer, or get another knife or another job, because I cut fiberglass for a living for a couple of years, and I can tell you it's no fun. Hello, Warthog. Here's another pattern. I mean, you see these more makers make this type, but you don't see people using these or carrying these very often, unless you're in a nautical, like setting on a boat or something like this. But you've got a very good, useful sheep's foot blade here. Pretty strong lockup, man. You'd have to. This thing's not gonna like slide on you accidentally. And this could be useful for more than just rope work and everything else. It's blunt. I mean, so you can use this to open packages. Now, I saw one Jersey Knife guy was talking about. He was in some forum or something, and people were sharpening these for like a self-defense thing. Well, yeah, all right, that's good for self-defense if you're gonna do that. Maybe now you've got a big ice pick, but you ruin the purpose of this for use on a rope. You don't want to. You don't want to fray. Uh, it's to help with knots and ropes and stuff like that, to undo them and stuff, to help untangle them. When they get tight. And if you have this all pointed and sharp, you wind up grabbing the braiding of the rope and pulling that up, and that's just a big mess. You don't want that. And they also have used these to open up shackles on stuff like that. Although you've got to watch it because you want this smooth, for working like that. Now I was joking. People didn't understand I was joking. People would put in there and say, "No, that's not actually the use of the marlin spike. It's actually for use of, with rope work." And I'm like, okay, It went right over your head. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. But this one's pretty cool. It's got a little anchor in it, instead of the big R on there and everything. This is an older one. Um, it comes out kind of like reddish orange. Let's see what its number is over here. Give us your number, sir. Oh, doesn't want to focus. Not back there. What? All right, here we're getting closer. What is it? 576. I don't think that's a C. I think that's just a scratch or a piece of hair. RR576. Yeah, that's what that is. Let me look at the chat. All kinds of stuff are going on. I apologize for not noticing stuff in chat a lot of times because if it pops up here, I might see it, but if I don't look at this, all right, we got the regular people that are in here. Cool. Nobody's asked me a super technical question like, what's in that mug there? What's in that mug? It's an airplane. It's hot chocolate. This used to be my father's mug. He worked at Rice Aviation, Houston, Texas. That's the address. Oh, I wonder if that phone number still works. He taught airframe and air mechanic. I mean, you have to get a certification for working on commercial aircraft, A&P license and stuff like that. And he had one for prop, reciprocal engines and jet engines too. And after he got out of the Air Force, he worked up there, air research, aviation, and General Dynamics. So a lot of times they had fighter planes and stuff, T-38 trainers that were used as for the astronauts to fly around in and stuff. So he worked on some of that stuff. He had a lot of NASA memorabilia that my older sister got when he passed away. But yeah, so that's the Marlin Spike. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm gonna try to get through most of that box there. All right, now here's another hard one. You see like a TL29 electrician's type of knife, with the normal configuration of one of those. This one's in the coal miner series, but then this one's got a wrench. Now I've seen another one where they've got a hammer on the end, and this is pretty useful. It's a little crescent wrench. It doesn't open up real wide. Let's see, maybe 5/8. Yeah, you might get a 5/8 because this white part is the edge of the ruler measurement here. Yeah, and in centimeters, how much would that be? We'll have to go millimeters. 15 millimeters. You might get 15 millimeters in there. But if you're on a bicycle spokes and stuff like that, this would come in handy. It's just awkward with it being at the base like that, I mean, you'd need like a holster or something. It sits in your pocket. Be prepared. Be prepared for anything. And then here's some of the other ones you don't see too often. Three back springs back here. But again, this is a Rough Rider with a little bow tie. But it's a 3-bladed one. So it's got this kind of spear blade. I think this is a clip back here. Talk about nail breakers. Yeah, there's a little kind of Persian-ish looking clip, and then a little pin blade. It's got to be a little pin blade here. Yeah. So, for people that say 2 blades are not enough, and I like 3 blades, but I want them all on one end. I don't want them. I made it a series, bone series or something like that. I don't remember. But this one was the long rifle or rifleman. This was a rifleman series. And look at that. It's diamond checkered, so it's not just like, they angled it with a groove or something, I'm sure it was done by a machine, but you don't see that very often, and that is it's very useful. It's useful in guns and gun stocks, for gripping and texture, and it's useful in knives too. Now it's a pain in the butt if you get gunk in there, to clean it out. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but there's quick ways, compressed air and stuff like that. So I mean that's another thing is sometimes you usually have the standard group of traditional knives that you're offered. You know, you're offered this and this, a trapper, and you very rarely get beyond that. They might say, okay, here's a lady leg, which, not a lot of people use. Now, we were talking about trick knives before. This is a trick closing knife. Now, the other one was a trick opening knife. This is not a Rough Rider, but still, it's a trick opening knife. You can't get that open. This one may be even worse because if you don't know how to close a knife, you got somebody, that now has a knife that they don't know how to close. And what I like about this one, that the shield fell off, but it looks all right without the shield on there. What I like about this one is there's a lot of innovative, not innovative, I mean, the round hole, is like a spider coat copy, but they put a saber, type of grind on it. And you look at it and you go, oh, well, where is the liner lock? Where is the locking mechanism? How do you close this? How do you close this knife? There's no secret bolster, you don't have to spin the propeller. How do you close it? Well, you usually go on YouTube before you throw the knife away and look and see if anybody else figured out how to close it. And it's pretty easy once you figure it out. On the secondary blade over there. Hi, Diver Dave. On the secondary blade over here, there's a little edge. I don't know if you can see all this. For some reason, the camera light doesn't want to come on, and I don't want to push it. What do I have? I'm always carrying some kind of light on me, so we'll take this little. I guess this guy's like 10 lumens. We'll show him in there. Oh, it works perfectly. Yeah, so you see that little ledge down there, that little bent thing? That pushes on the release mechanism, basically. So, kind of a trick knife. The trick is, getting it closed. That's a pattern I wish they would keep doing. I like the shape of it. I like the fact that you've got a big long blade, but you've got a short pin blade that's still useful. There's no trick about it, and it's got kind of a Warncliffe, it's sheep's foot Warncliffe kind of looking to it. But yeah, it opens and closes real easy. And this big hump, you'd think, oh, this is in the way, but your hand just curls right around it. It's really not a hot spot at all. It really works pretty well. Let me catch up on the chat. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss too much. I miss a lot of things. I saw one guy. It wasn't in a knife chat or whatever, but there were porn bots in there, and they were hitting his channel, hitting his stream a lot. And I guess he was taking care of them or whatever, but he got a strike against his channel for spam. And now, how can you blame somebody that's doing a live stream for somebody else to come? YouTube needs to crack down on these spam bots. They know what they are. They've seen them before. They're not unaware of them. Oh, here comes a rant. And then they take it out on the people that put the videos up. It's their incompetence that's causing that. And why penalize the? It's again, it's the goose that laid the golden egg syndrome with YouTube. Oh, this is making a lot of money. How can we screw it up? How can we mess this up? Oh, well, we can say that they can't show pictures of any children, because some pedophile might get on there. All right, fine. And all this other stuff. And then music used to be even if a song was copyrighted, as long as you didn't play that particular song all the way through, nobody was gonna be downloading your poor bit live stream, to get that song, the latest song, so they didn't have to pay for the music. No, you know. So that can be a strike against you. And then now you can't even sing happy birthday. And I think that is criminal right there. Because we're taught this as kids. It was like a mantra, you know. You had to sing happy birthday to somebody's, if not your own, somebody's birthday, you know. And now if you do it, it's copyrighted. You can't even go, you can't carry that tune along. Even if you mess the words up, you know. What is wrong? All right, gone too long with this rant. We need a dog whistle now. Woo, dog whistle. So yeah, it's just crazy, you know. Now all of a sudden, we'll get off this. We got to get off this. That's why I grabbed the dog whistle. It's a dog whistle thing. Dog bone jack. This is pretty cool. You know, you got a nice kind of spear point blade here and everything. And this one also comes with one of those little sheaths in it. You got a little swervy little spade blade. Now this is kind of cruel. I think this is kind of cruel to put a spade blade and a dog whistle on a dog bone jack. I mean, nobody sees that. Nobody finds that funny. I think that's crazy. You know. I told you, come back here, Rover. You know what this other blade is for. Don't make me whip out the small blade. And Rover's like, I'll obey, I'll obey. What do you want me to do? Roll over? Yeah, so that's another fun one, you know, that you don't see very often. I think they occasionally have it in there. You know, and the three blades weren't enough for you. Why not five? You know, let's have five. All on the same end. Now, a lot of times the reason why they stagger these is because it can be more compact, but you've got all these thick tangs right here. So yeah, this is almost like a multi-tool, but your only multi-tools are blades. If you want blades, all right, we got a small clip blade here. That's not enough for you, all right, but sheep's foot, regular size sheep's foot. All right, we're gonna have to go over here now since you're not satisfied. Well, okay. Here's your spade blade again, you know. You wanted to space something. All right, a coping blade. You want to do some carpentry work or something like that. And, you know, a clip point wasn't enough for you, so here's a regular clip point. Now, it actually fits in the hand fairly well. Wide knife fits in the hand fairly well. My only thought would be if you're carrying this in your pocket, besides it being bulky, if it ever lays down like this, and you're carrying change, who carries change anymore? But I mean, some people used to carry change. I remember my dad and grandpa and everything had these little change purse things. It was sometimes they were plastic and you squeezed it in a little coin. That's something you don't see a lot of times. All right, here's another one. I love this. This is the long rifle series, I believe. But again, now this one, see, they put some on this end and they put some on this end. So see how much less bulky this is? Now, yeah, it's only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only eight blades, or 4 blades. What is it? I can't even count. 4 on this side. 6 bladed knife. Was that, what was the song? 6 bladed knife. All right, so yeah. Now, the covers, again, on this one are smooth, but they did it really well. It's like a tobacco bone and everything. Nail breaker. A nice, you know, pen knife. I'm sorry, I forgot these are on the opposite ends. A little clip blade here. They put the tang stamp on all of these blades. You know, some of them, after a while, they just said, that costs too much money. Long rifle. You know, match strike nail. Right there in the middle, look at that. Main blade with the emblem on it is not on one end or the other. It's right in the middle. All right, we run out of nail nicks over here. What it was used for. Ooh, we got a nice kind of like Warncliffe-y sheep's foot here. And then what's the guy in the middle? All right, you know, a little spear point. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you got a spear point, which are a lot of people a drop point. This is more of a drop point. You got a drop point, which is popular, and then right next to it is the main, you know, like spear point. And they're fairly well centered if you look at that. Of course, these hug the side. I don't see a lot of blade scrapage, but you know, I haven't carried this around and used it a lot. All right, we're getting towards the end. Now this looks like a regular Rough Rider until you see this. And there's two ways of grabbing that one. One, you can put your thumbnail underneath here, or it actually has its own nail nick. And this is like the radio man's knife, the electrician's radio man knife. Let me go over here, pull this back, make sure no porn bots are in here. All right, cool. The porn bots are not awake right now. Wow. Early bird gets the worm and misses out the porn bots or the spam bots. Now the spring in this is not um, real strong, and if it breaks, you can always manufacture another piece of metal, and try to pin it back in there. You can increase tension a little bit like that, but they're not needle nose. They're not as small as needle nose, but that it was mainly designed for those little screws and nuts you get on vacuum tube type radios and stuff back when they made stuff with metal. And then of course you have another nail breaker. Ow, that one's got a screwdriver on the end of it. It's modified to have a screwdriver. You're gonna have to take my word for it. My thumb is complaining. You're gonna have to take my word for that on that one. And then how do we get to this guy then? Some of these are not super. There we go. Just gotta get the lever just right. Nice spear kind of drop point blade there. See, now you can see this guy. Maybe I can. Oh man. Yeah, that's a beyond 10 right there. You really need a nail nick tool for that, and I don't have one available right now. So, but yeah, instead of having, I'm going to pull it out later. I'm going to see what it is in there. Instead of having a regular thing, it's got, I think it's a bottle cap and screwdriver tip that narrows down to a flathead screwdriver. And then this is the Gunstock series. This is an older one. I like this, Rough Rider, script on the little anvil there. China survived, but the model number didn't, did it? Sure didn't. That was a disadvantage. These weren't laser stamped in there, just kind of like rubber stamped. This is just a little Stockman. I'd say, I don't know what sizes of stuff. Oh, we always got to have a nail breaker in there. The spay blade. Look at that. It just like pulls up a chunk of your thumbnail. And I kept that short. All right, now here's a pattern that you do see still available, but you don't see people using them very often, and it's just the regular. Marbles makes this also, but it's the easy open one-handed razor kind of guy. It's got a little scalpel there. You can scalpel things and open them with one hand. All right, so yeah, they're mostly Rough Riders, and this is where I store a lot of these. I was gonna actually do this live stream on storage boxes and everything, but there's not a lot of room over here, and dinosaurs get knocked over and start complaining. They don't mind getting stabbed a lot. Hello, Klaus. Yeah, I've got lots of knives. I got lots of knives and more knives coming in. I'm really looking forward to the two that are coming in. One in particular because I left a comment on one of Tobias's videos 2 years ago on my other account, on my lock account, talking about that particular knife. So I think I got one of them. So, yeah, no secret on that. I mean, you're not going to win anything other than the admiration of your peers. But yeah, I've got two knives coming in. One, I don't think anybody would really be able to guess a whole lot, maybe. And the other one, you might be able to guess if you went and looked at Tobias's old videos. But he's got a lot of videos, and this one, like I said, was from 2 years ago. So yeah. Well, we'll see if anybody's got any questions. Anything they want to see here. Yeah, I thought about getting a Victorinox, like multi-tool. I'm torn between. Uh, I really enjoyed my Leatherman. I had a Leatherman tool, and I used it on multiple jobs. The only thing I ever broke on it was the little tiny screwdriver. I was using it wrong. It was a pry thing, and I snapped it off. But they're replaceable. I never replaced it. But when I was working at the fiberglass place and compressing 25-foot tubes of fiberglass into a little, uh, maybe 2-foot tube, I was using my knee like this. I'd get in there and I'd use my knee to help compress it because you had to compress it all the way down and then wrap it with a metal tie and then pull it out of the damn, you know, aluminum can that it was in, a round can. And I had cargo pockets, and of course this was an early Leatherman. Didn't have a clip on it or anything, and I didn't have a belt sheath. I was carrying it in the cargo pocket loose. And when I got home that night, I noticed that I couldn't find my Leatherman. And I figured I lost it at work. So the next day I went up there and looked all around. I couldn't find it. And I finally came to the conclusion that either it dropped off where I was working and somebody, when they were closing up at night, because they didn't have a night shift there, someone who was closing up at night saw it and picked it up, or it wound up inside one of those tubes, which is what I think happened. So here, guy working out a construction site. "Oh, I hate that. I gotta go up in the attic. It's hot up there and do all this other stuff." And he opens up the bag, and out falls a used Leatherman. Well, it made his day. He's happy. He found a knife. I'd rather that to happen than somebody steal a knife. You know, if somebody stole, I've had that happen before. People steal knives, and a gut wrenching feeling, and like, oh man, either you trusted somebody or you left yourself open. It's the feeling you get. Like they let you down or you let yourself down. Um, but that happens. That happens in life. All right, so before my see, this is hot cocoa, and it had marshmallows in it, but there are moths flying around, and believe me, they'll land in there. So you got to get your cocoa before it becomes. Oh, those are marshmallows? They taste funny. Yeah, I've gotten to where I look at my mugs before I go to drink, especially if they've been sitting out. You'll find floaters. All right, so I hope everyone has a happy Saturday. I just wanted to pop this one on and show these different ones here and let everyone know that I tried to schedule this. Look at that. There's only one person here, it says. I tried to schedule this, but uh, looking at this other account here, it gave a notification, but it never did the countdown. It wouldn't do the countdown. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Saturday, and thank you for attending, all you early birds. You don't get a worm. I mean, the early bird gets a worm, but you get the weirdness. This is the oddity. The oddity can be either myself or the knives. I think it's a little mixture of both. And you have a great time too, Warthog. I'm glad to see you back and into the knife world. We understand, when you're in pain or when you're in the hospital, it's kind of hard to do videos. So, anyways, hang in there, buddy. Thanks for watching, and